Alright guys, I'm going to start with the little tortoises. The yearling Redfoots. A little over a year, probably like a year and a half. They're getting romaine hearts, some green, a trio of greens. It's all organic. It's actually, the greens are from Walmart. They're kind of hard to find, but it's a nice trio. And then there's a little banana, a little cantaloupe, a little yellow squash. Really just whatever fruits we have around the house that the kiddos eating or we're eating. I always try and get a yellow squash or a zucchini to throw in there as well. And it's their day for a little calcium supplement. So these guys, I'm using Repticalcium with, D3. Sorry. Pretty common. They also get Missouri tortoise diet pretty regularly, and some Optunia cactus. I used to try and feed them mealworms, or superworms, I'm sorry, but I ended up getting an infestation of superworms in the soil and a ton of those black beetles, which was fine, because the beetles would kind of clean up the poop, but they'd also get out and I'd find them all over the house. And as I mentioned before, we lost some animals. I actually came home to one of the leopard tortoises in their enclosure, our last leopard tortoise, and the superworms had eaten into his orifices of his body. So from that moment forward, I said no more superworms in the yearling enclosures. And right now it's just got springtails and isopods. I'll probably get more and just add some more as time goes on. But yeah, lots of poop. We have to do a poop cleanup. There's my other one in there. And we're going to go outside and feed the bigs. Alright, so we are in the bigs enclosure. By the way, this is just like a deck or patio storage box with a flip lid. And I just cut a hole in it and hit it with some foam so they didn't cut themselves on the way out. I can hear them in there. They know I'm out here. But my yard guys came over the weekend and they noticed none of the tortoises were out, so they weed whacked down some of the grass. But anyway, I take this bucket right here. This is actually from a local farm where you can go and kind of pick some of your own produce, and you pay once for the bucket or something. But I just use it to load up. Again, same thing the littles were getting. Romaine, some mixed greens. This stuff right here, it's actually going bad and it stinks. So it's about that time, if they don't mind, they'll eat it up. So I'm going to just finish it off out here. There's some yellow squash, banana, a little apple. The wife had left over from making the kiddos lunch. And these guys don't get the calcium as much because they're already full grown, but I'm going to go ahead and hit them with some calcium. And I'm going to step out, and I expect these guys will be popping out here soon. Maybe, maybe not. So, funny enough, out of the three, the big male is by far the most shy. The two females are pretty tame. They usually, when they hear me rummaging around out here, they'll come out and see what I'm up to, but I'm talking more than normal. Let's try this. There she comes. Well, that might be the male, actually. They might be hungry. But I'm going to go back inside and get the earthworms for the box turtle, and I'll pick this back up whenever I get back out here and see if they're out and munching down on some of their dinner. Looks like my piece of green to kind of lure them out may have worked a little bit, but we'll can't tell if that's the female or the male from here. The little one's the subadult female. Anyway, let's feed the box turtle while we're out, and then my wife's gonna come out and help me feed the, oh look, somebody's hungry waiting for me right there. Let me try something. Oh, well, sorry. My wife's gonna come out and help me feed the, or film while I feed the fish here in a minute. But, fish, he is usually an aggressive eater, especially when it comes to worms and super worms. Let's see if I can get it to turn. Oh yeah. He absolutely loves them. I've not been successful at getting him to eat fruits or veggies or you know, prepared foods. You know, the tortoises seem to love the Missouri tortoise diet. I've tried to get him some. He doesn't like it. I think I'm going to pick up some of the Missouri crock chow and try that since it's got protein in it. But typically he likes the meats. You know, I know he picks on, you know, he might pick on some of the foods in here. I feed him a lot of snails. After it rains, my front porch has like a little rocky area, and I can usually go pick up like 2 dozen snails, and he'll chow down on the snails. But I'm gonna let him finish this earthworm before I throw another one in there, because he'll forget about this one and go after the new one. And we'll walk over here and see if the bigs have made their way out a little bit. I think this is going to end up being a longer video. I'm going to do the tortoises first, even though I fed them near the end. Here goes little wiener. But let's see if he wants one more. I'm sure he does. So he actually had some super worms the other day. So I'm only going to give him a couple earthworms tonight. But we will see.
The boys holding up the line.
Traffic jam. We'll see if one of these guys want a little protein tonight. Hey, little girl. So we've actually named her Barbara because the family friend I got her from, they thought she was a boy, and they named her Bruce after Bruce Wayne for Batman. So now she's Barbara as for Barbara Gordon for Batgirl. But she doesn't look too interested in a worm tonight. Maybe. Uh-oh, I dropped it. Hang on. So she was almost exclusively raised on worms and protein, which is probably one of the reasons her shell looks the way it does. But she's come a long way since she's been with us. She took a while to get her used to some of the fruits and veggies. But they all seem to play pretty nice together. As our big girl, what do we name them? Fred and Ethel?
Yeah.
Yes. Ethel, they're sharing a worm.
Oh.
There's plenty of worms. So these guys are supposed to get a little protein. In the wild, I believe they'll eat, you know, dead things or whatever they can catch. But I usually will feed a few worms here and there. And there he goes, plowing right through. So anyway, I'm going to hand this over to my wife, and we're going to feed the fish. So we have some mollies and platies, not very many left. The neighborhood cats seem to have decimated them. But recently, and they're going to be hard to pick up, I was at the Fish Gallery Houston, and they had some gambusa, some mosquito fish, which are also a live bearer. It's like a native guppy, I guess. And I picked up 16. They're 4 for $1, so I picked up $4 worth. Males and females. Some of them already look pregnant. Some of them pretty good size. I'm going to let them populate in here, and then I'll be able to use them as feeders for the box troll.
There goes the toy.
Yeah, so that's one of the Pleiades or Mollies, whatever. I don't remember which one. I have some granules, so I feed them flakes. I've been trying to get this skittish koi to eat. I have some granules because I know they'll sink a little bit if these guys let it get down. There he goes again. So he looks nice and plump, so I know he's eating something. And then I have a Placo in here that is one of the prettiest ones I've ever saw. I bought it as a common, a few inches long, and he is just covered with yellow spots. I don't have much algae growing, but I throw in some algae wafers, but I doubt we'll get to see him on camera. And I apologize, they're mowing behind us. I feed these guys a couple times a week, not too often. Everything seems to be doing great. Been thinking of building a 2x4 pond with a pond liner, a raised one, and giving them a little bit more space here soon. Alright, so I cleaned the glass a little bit, and you can get a good look at Harvey back there and how big he's getting. I don't know if he's going to eat on camera or not. Didn't pick up any crickets yet this week. It's kind of been his main staple lately. But we'll see if I can get him to eat a superworm on camera. Maybe. Oh, tried to. There we go. So he mainly gets fed superworms and crickets and whatever other little meaty creatures I come home with, but you know, I like to pinch the heads on the superworms, because if not, I get a bunch of the black beetles in here and they get out. It's a pain. So anyway, we're going to go chop up some tortoise food. Well, I might actually put the tortoises in the first part of the video. We'll see. Anyway, hang tight. Come on, Nacho. Any day now, Nacho. Alright, Nacho. There we go. You missed it, bud. moisture on it?
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Nacho. Not as aggressive as a feeder as he was yesterday, but he ate a cube of bloodworms this morning, and he's still kind of looking around the tank. Ah, snake! He's still kind of looking around the tank for foods this afternoon, so I figured I'd see if he wanted another earthworm. Anyway, well, I'm sure he'll get less camera shy here soon. But I'll get the tortoises. It'll either be before this part of the video or slightly after, but I just figured I'd do a quick feeding of everything. So.
It's a water snake. Why are you trying to be quiet?
Because we're making a video, bud.
Why are you making the video?
So we can put it on YouTube.
I want to put it on YouTube. I want to put it on YouTube, Mommy.
Good Nacho.
What? Can I put it on YouTube?
We're going to.
Well, I want to too.
We will. Alright. Well, it looks like Nacho is picked up after himself. I see little bits of worm. He hasn't made it over to his food dish yet. Still have all of the endlers, the fire red endlers so far. But appreciate everybody who's watched the video. I got some big plans coming up. Try and get as much of it on YouTube as I can. But like I said, I think I'm going to build a stand for some of my animals. We're kind of rearranging the spare room in the house. Probably try and consolidate everything into one area. I'm still working on ways to cool down this aquarium another couple degrees. And then I also mentioned maybe increasing the size of our backyard patio pond. Something a little bit nicer and more easily to enjoy instead of just pushed up in the corner of the patio. But appreciate everybody who watches the channel. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Later.